My pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. I welcome all of you for today's session of Akhanda Gita Dhyana Yajna. So let us continue our contemplation of Gita Dhyana Gita Shlokas from chapter 1. So can you start, Kateri?
Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya Paundram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vrikodara Anantajayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosha Manipau Kashyasya Parameshvasa Shikandi Cha Maharata Drishtadhyumna Viratascha Satyapischa Parajita Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvascha Prithvipate Saubhadrascha Mahabahu Shankhan Dadmu Pratak Pratak.
So today we are taking up the shloka number 115 to 118. Let us contemplate the meaning of these shlokas. These shlokas are about the divine sounds. What is the divine sound in a Mahabharata war? Divine vibrations and divine sounds in the Mahabharata war is explained in these shlokas. So Gayatri, can you explain the meaning?
Yeah. Rishikesh blew his conch shell called Panchajanya, and Arjuna blew the Devadatta. Bhim, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his mighty conch called Poundra. King Yudhishthira blew his Ananta Vijaya, while Nakula and Sahadeva blew their conches, Sughosh and Manipushpak. The excellent archer and king of Kashi, the great warrior Shikhandi, Drishtadhyumna, Virat, and the invincible Satyaki, Drupad, the 5 sons of Draupadi, and the mighty armed Abhimanyu, son of Supatra. All of them blew their respective conch shells, O ruler of the earth.
So this is actually Sanjaya Ovacha. Sanjaya is reporting to Dhritarashtra. In the earlier shloka, Bhishma, who is the leader, commander-in-chief of Kaurava army, he blew his conch and roared like a lion, encouraging Duryodhana and all Kaurava Yodhas. If you remember, in Adhyatmika level, internally, Bhishma is the ego. Duryodhana is the outgoing tendency of the mind. The ego creates a lot of disturbance in the mind. By Bhishmacharya is leading that, pushing Duryodhana with the outgoing tendency of the mind to go out. So now Pandava's side, the divine army of Pandavas starts blowing the conch. As I told you earlier, there are two, the Kauravas represent the outgoing tendency of the mind, and Pandavas represent the inward tendency or mind going to higher self, Krishna and Paramatma, Mukti. So inward tendency of the mind is called Nivritti Marga, outward tendency of the mind is called Pravritti Marga. Pandavas represent the Nivritti Marga. So now the Mahabharata war happens in the outer level, what we call as Kurukshetra. This is called Adi Bhautika. Really, Mahabharata war happened 5,300 years back, some time back. But we are speaking of the inner Mahabharata, the Mahabharata inside. Yesterday I told the meaning of blowing the conch. The conch creates a sound which is actually Omkara. Om. So that Omkara is invoked by conch, whether it's in temple or in a war for auspiciousness. So Pandava side start blowing the conch. Let us understand what is the meaning of this. So Pandavas represent the inward tendency of the mind. So I'm speaking of the Mahabharata inside our subtle body, Sukshma Sharira. There are 6 centers in our subtle body: Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Adna, and Sahasrara. So Sri Krishna is called as Rashikesha. Rashikesha means Lord of senses, the controller of senses, the master of senses. Who is the master of senses? Real master of senses is the Atma, the Sakshi. So Sri Krishna is the master of senses. Why is master? He doesn't control the senses. The Sakshi sees through the eyes, hears through the ears, tastes through the tongue, smells through the nose, and feels through the skin. So Sakshi is the real master of sense organs. And Arjuna is addressed as Dhananjaya here. Dhananjaya means one who has conquered a lot of wealth, money. He is very rich. Very interesting. In Bhagavad Gita, every word which you use has a deeper connotation. So Arjuna is called Dhananjaya, means one who has conquered wealth. And Sri Krishna is called witness, Sakshi. So now Sri Krishna is studying the mind of Arjuna. Arjuna, who is very powerful, he has won lot of wealth and very, see, when you have become very successful in life, ego will be strong. So Arjuna is treating Krishna as a Sarathi, driver. Krishna, can you go this way? Krishna, can you go this way? So Arjuna seems to be the master and Krishna seems to be the servant. The Krishna, Sakshi, is getting ready to witness, is studying Arjuna. Dhananjaya means victorious one, whose ego is strong because he has become very successful. Why it is told? Why it's told here? The reason is all of us, as we get little bit success in life, our ego will be powerful. I can do anything in life. But there's Sakshi, Paramatma, watching behind, that we forget. So that's why Sri Krishna is called Dhananjaya. And Sri Krishna's conch is called Panchajanya. Now, Panchajanya meaning I'll elaborate later. Panchajanya means 5 elements are born from that. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, Prithvi. The space, the 5 are born from that. Space, wind, fire, water, and earth are born from Panchajanya. There is a small story in Mahabharata. Sri Krishna is studying in his Guru's ashram Sandipini. Guru's son is kidnapped by one asura called Panchajanya. So Krishna kills the Panchajanya asura and brings back the Sandipini Rishi's son and gives him to Rishi. So the Panchajanya who is killed is made into conch called Panchajanya. Okay. So now there is interesting. Any story in Sanatana Dharma has Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika, Adhyatmika meaning. Panchajanya conch is also by Vishnu. So Vishnu got the Panchajanya Shankha during Samudra Mantana, churning on the Milky Ocean. Sri Krishna gets the Panchajanya Shankha when Asura called Panchajanya is killed. Let us understand Adhyatmika meaning. Sri Krishna's Guru is Sandipini. Adi Bhautika meaning I have told already. The story, Puranic story I have told. Adhyatmika, Sandipini is the guru of Sri Krishna. And guru teaches Atmadnana. And Atmadnana is kidnapped. His son, Sandipini Rishi's son is kidnapped. The Atmadnana is covered by Asuri Pravritti, our egoistic tendency of the mind. So the 5 elements, the space, wind, fire, and earth and water, which are derived from the pranava, omkara, is forgotten, and mind or ego gets focused on the material nature. So Sri Krishna takes it back and uses that as a Panchajanya. So I'll give elaborate meaning of Panchajanya. Next slides. So Sri Krishna, the abode of Sri Krishna in our body is Ajna Chakra, is the guru here, and Omkara, Pranava is the sound. When the conch is blown, the sound is the Omkara, Pranava. Okay, the Omkara is the primordial sound. So then Vishuddhi Chakra, Yudhishthira Raja is there. Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is also called Dharma Raja. Yudhishthira means one who is firm in war. He will never show his back. If he enters into war, he will fight the war. He will never go back from the war field. He is also called Dharma Raja because he follows Dharma. And his conch is called Ananta Vijaya. Means eternal victory. So Dharma represents the eternal victory. So there is no Dharma and Adharma, war goes on, but ultimately Dharma is victorious. So his Shanka is called Ananta Vijaya. Now each of these Shankas, each of these sounds have a subtle vibration. Now this vibration is called Nada. Pandavas in the inner journey represents a yogi in Samadhi and meditation. In deepest states of silence in Samadhi, subtle astral sounds, subtle vibrations are heard. These are called Nada. And listening to this Nada is called Nada Yoga. And throat center represents space element, and this is specific vibration or sound heard in a deepest state of meditation. So then Bhima is called Vrakodara. He is representing Anahata center. Anahata center is wind, the prana shakti. So Bhima is a Vayuputra. So the prana is one which takes us from the outer world to inner world. From the gross world to subtle world, prana is the one which guides us. So that's why Bhima represents the pranic energy, pranayama, our inner movement of the mind. And conch of the Bhima is called Poundra. The Poundra sound, the Poundra, right? The Poundra word is a pounding. You have heard the word pounding in English. So destroys, disintegrates all lower states of the mind. The subtle aspect of pranayama helps us to overcome the lower states of the mind. He will actually, Bhima is the one who kills Duryodhana, outgoing tendency of the mind, finally. So the Bhima is the prana shakti, the pranayama helps us to get mastery over the mind. And Bhima is called Vrakodara. Vrakodara means he has a stomach of a wolf. So Bhima is known for eating, right? Okay. So Bhima is ever hungry. Like a wolf. Wolf is also always hungry. Wolf is also always wants to eat something, hungry. Continuously, it is never satisfied. Bhima is also never satisfied. But one speciality is there. When we eat, we become fat. The belly becomes big. You see, no? Overeating causes belly to become big. But fox, how much it eats, the belly is slim. The fox will not have a big belly. Similarly, Bhima, how much he eats, he builds muscles, but his belly is like a fox, slim. That's why it's called Vrakodara. And Bhima's conch is called Poundra. Poundra produces a specific nada or vibration, and that vibration is heard in meditation. Each of these sounds are subtle sounds of instruments, various instruments. So, Poundra or Bhima, the pranavayu in the Anahata center, creates a very subtle sound. And pranavayu is wind element. And then comes the Arjuna, the Manipura center. Manipura is the center for fire. So Arjuna has Devadatta, the conch called Devadatta. So Devadatta means given by Devatas to Arjuna. So Devadatta also means given by God, joy, happiness. So here in this center, a subtle sound of vibration called Veena, like Veena. Instrument called Veena. Instrument of Veena we can hear. So that's called fire element. And at Swadhisthana center, Nakula, he has a sound called conch. A sound of his conch is called Sugosha. Sugosha creates a pleasant sound. Sugosha means very pleasant sound. So here, the subtle vibration which you hear is flute. It represents the water element. Then Sahadeva is Manipushpaka. So the flowering of jewel is the meaning of Manipushpaka. The astral sound, what we hear, a subtle astral sound which we hear in the Anahata center, Muladhara center, is called like a honeybee. It represents the earth element. And Anahata Adna Chakra, Sri Krishna, the conch, Omkara, is heard. Subtle sound is heard. It's more like a ocean wave. We have seen many of our devatas like Saraswati, Sri Krishna, Shiva, all of these carry one instrument, musical instrument. Right? So these are our ancient people's way of saying, as our mind becomes subtler and subtler, in the astral plane, we hear some subtle sounds representing higher level of consciousness. And this whole science of listening to subtle sound is called Nada Yoga. So Nada Yoga is sit and listen to internal sounds as your mind becomes more and more silent. Especially when you listen to Omkara in the Anahata and Sahasrara or Anahata, the mind becomes very, very subtle and refined. So this is the part of Nada Yoga. You have heard in ancient days, Rishis used to sit in a cave. So the cave, why they sit in the cave? The cave is dark and soundproof. In that soundproof, they can hear subtle sound, which makes the mind much more subtler. This is a part of Nada Yoga. In my earlier house, which was stone built, our basement was made up of stone. So the doors, if I close, it'd be completely soundproof. And I used to be able to listen inner nada very beautifully. This is the Nada Yoga. So what is this? What actually is happening is the primordial sound Omkara manifests as lower and lower vibrations. From primordial sound Omkara, subtle vibrations, the Omkara is a vibration. From that, subtle elements manifest. So these are the sounds of the vibration of those elements. So then there are many other soldiers of these, many other the warriors of Pandava are mentioned. Each of them blows the conch. So the 5 sons of Draupadi, Satyaki, then Abhimanyu, everybody blows the conch. So the Pandavas blowing the conch represent the main centers. Krishna at the Adna Chakra, Pandavas at the all the centers. And the conch blowing from other warriors represent the main nadis, energy centers in our body. The word nadi comes from nada, vibration. So subtle vibration in the astral plane, when you hear, it's called nada yoga. So now, in earlier shloka, we heard Bhishma shouting, right? Bhishma roaring like a lion. So Bhishma roaring like a lion is the ego. And what is the difference between Pandava and Kauravas? The Pandavas, the conch and all, are drawing the mind inwards towards the Atma, self-realization. Whereas Kauravas, the ego blowing the conch and ego shouting or roaring, is taking the mind outer into the world, gross senses, gross world. So there's the difference. So there is a there's a chant, there's a beautiful shloka. Panchajanya nijadvana dvasta patak samshaya. So Panchajanya, the sound of Panchajanya destroys the downfall in life without doubt. What is this Panchajanya? Panchajanya is the divine conch. Panchabhutas, 5 elements, the space, wind, fire, water, and earth are coming from this. And also, the Panchajanya represents the subtle elements, 5 subtle elements. The basic primordial sound is the Omkara. Omkara is called Pranava. So the Pranava comes from a word called Prana. Prana becomes Pranava. Prana is a vibration, subtle vibration. It's called Pranava. So the Prana or Omkara, Krishna blowing the conch Panchajanya represents the Omkara sound. And from Omkara, Gayatri mantra comes. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasi Dhimahi Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. So from Gayatri mantra, 4 Vedas come. So that way, the cosmic sound of Omkara represents Gayatri mantra and 4 Vedas. That's why Omkara is very auspicious. In another sense, Bhagavan Vishnu also has the Panchajanya in his hand. So the Panchajanya, Omkara is the primordial sound. And from Omkara, all the alphabets of Sanskrit comes. The basic vibrations of Omkara gives rise to all the alphabets. Akara, from A to Ha. So now, the entire world is made up of these aksharams or alphabets of Sanskrit. In fact, the word becomes the world. Whatever word is there is the world. So the space, wind, fire, water, and earth, the 5 gross elements appear from Omkara, Pranava. And the same Omkara gives rise to 5 subtle elements within our body in various chakras. The subtle elements have sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Sound for space element, Vishuddha. Touch represents the wind element in the heart center. Form represents the fire element in the Manipura. And taste present in the Swadhisthana, water element. And smell is in the earth element. So the Omkara manifests as a gross world and subtle world. And in meditation, you hear the subtle sound, a subtle sound of vibration of various elements. The yogis are able to hear these sounds and they get a mastery over these 5 elements. And this mastery is what is responsible for siddhis, many miraculous powers of yogis. So the blowing of the conch represents the auspiciousness, and conch has the sound of the conch, the Omkara in the Anahata chakra, Adna chakra, and various other chakras are depending on various states of samadhi. So I will take in the next class, I'll continue the meaning of this shloka in the next class, and I'll tell the different levels of samadhi in which these sounds are heard. All of you are welcome to look at our YouTube channel, our website, subscribe to our courses, subscribe to YouTube channel, like our YouTube channel, and share with your friends. Namaste. Any questions are there? Anybody? So the question here is mind becomes very subtle. Okay. But the capacity of an ear to hear only a certain decibel of sound. Our ears are limited. Right. So now this hearing doesn't happen from the ear. Our ears are called golaka. See, actually, eyes and ears and tongue, all this called golakas, or they're called instruments. Actually, ears cannot hear, eyes cannot see. It's the indriyas are subtle sense organs in our subtle body which do the hearing. Our ears have a limitation, but subtle sense organs in the subtle body are called indriyas. They are the real hearing. They are doing real hearing. Now, these indriyas have the ability to hear the gross sound through ears. And they have the ability to hear subtle sound of vibration through the inner ear. That's called indriya, inner ear. So all these are called inner, what I call as antaranga, inner experiences. Anybody else any questions on Zoom? Okay. If there are no questions, we'll conclude this